record. Okay, we're recording. Yeah. So let me just say that one more time for the recording, and just to clarify here too, for everybody here at the top of this this webinar that we're having today, that the deadline that's driving a lot of families to investigate, well, other than the fact that school's starting here in 3 weeks, right? We all procrastinate. I am the worst procrastinator, so don't feel badly. And you still have 3 weeks right before school starts, so you're way ahead. The deadline that we're giving is because we have to pick a date wherein we can organize the students who have enrolled into groups based on their proximity. We're going to organize those groups on Friday. So the last day to enroll and be guaranteed that you're in a group as tight as possible is Thursday. But for areas outside of Utah and maybe Gilbert, Arizona, and Boise, Idaho, and some of these other areas where we have a little higher concentration of Latter-day Saints, it makes really no difference. You can enroll Monday, you can enroll throughout the rest of the month, you can enroll throughout the year if you wanted to too. And we'll be accepting enrollments throughout the whole year. There will never be a day this year where we stop enrolling. So don't stress too much. Now, we do want you to get into a group that's as close to your student as possible when it comes to microschooling, because there's a lot of really cool things that happen when they have close proximity, or with the closest proximity possible. As we organize our microschools, Grace is going to be doing most of this work. She will leave space open in every single microschool. Now, we just don't know how many spaces to add. We don't know what the enrollment is going to look like for the rest of the year. We've never enrolled like this in previous years. We've always had an incentive that pushed people to enroll earlier. They got a discount or an extra referral credit or whatever it is. And so we had a better idea before this point. Now we're really just treating this more like a standard private school tuition model. You pay annually, and the tuition doesn't change regardless of when you enroll. So most families will enroll at the end of the summer, and because of that, it's causing us to work a little bit differently. So again, Grace will be organizing those most proximal micro schools on Friday. She'll leave 10 to 15 open seats in every single micro school so that families who enroll after Friday can still usually find an open seat in the micro school that's closest to them. All right, now back to the webinar. For you who are new, AHS Worldwide is a faith-based private school. Categorically, unapologetically, we are oriented to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We love strong academics, but we love strong academics in light of the restored gospel. And that's our mission, is helping provide children with the academic development they need, while also deepening their faith and their commitment and conviction to principles of the gospel and developing character. And so learning with a little more light is maybe a tagline that's appropriate for our school. Deep roots. We've been around for 55 years. We have a very unique mission. I'll share that with you here in just a second. And our methods and pedagogy have been refining over those 55 years. We're a fully accredited school for over 2 decades now. And what we're offering for middle schoolers is comprehensive. It is a complete alternative to public education. So everything a family would possibly need for their middle schooler. The school started, the genesis story of the school is the Brigham Young Academy. And when the academy closed in 1968, there were some parents, Verlin Anderson specifically, and his wife Shirley, who had children at that school and who wanted to continue a K-12 learning by study and also by faith experience that BYA was for K-12 students who were preparing to go to Brigham Young University. And Verlin and Shirley bought this chapel school. This was an old dilapidated chapel back in 1969 is when they bought the building. And then they officially incorporated as American Heritage Schools, Inc., multiple schools. And that's important for the worldwide outreach, because that's what we are. That's what you are. You are American Heritage Schools all over the world. And we've served over 20,000 children in over 100 countries around the world in the last 15 years that I've been here at the school. And it started before I even came here. 30 years after Verlin and Shirley, Verlin had passed away, and Gaylord Swim became the next founder of the school, and he donated the money to be able to acquire the land that this campus now sits on and to build this campus, which is a beautiful campus that sits in the shadows of the mountains, and on the other side, the Mount Timpanogos Temple. It couldn't be a more beautiful location. But we call this our flagship campus because this is where 1,300 students come every day to learn K-12. And then we have a new Salt Lake campus that just opened up 3 years ago at the request of the church to have a faith-based school in downtown Salt Lake for a number of reasons. We finally agreed to do that, and they donated a church, beautiful historic chapel, kitty corner to the conference center, actually. And if you ever have a chance to go see that, it's a really special campus as well. It's unique in its own way, right? It has a beautiful First Vision stained glass. It's one of the it was the original State Center in Salt Lake. White chapel, different architecture, different layout. Anyway, mission statement. This is the mission statement of the school, and it's why Grace works here. It's why I work here. It's why all of us work here. It's why most of our families come to American Heritage School. Yes, it's a strong academic experience. Yes, we have fun events. Yes, the kids meet great friends and all these things that are important, but ultimately, if it wasn't for the mission of the school, few families would come here. And so it's for these reasons that we have the worldwide outreach to make this mission more accessible to families around the world, and not just more accessible proximity-wise, but affordability-wise as well. And so families who are part of the AHS Worldwide campus, the third campus of the school, receive an education from American Heritage School that is a fraction of the cost of what it costs to attend in person. There is a learning framework that's really important. You can see it behind me on my wall here as well. It is the framework around which all the curriculum we produce is designed and developed. It is this principle approach that actually it's the method that allows the mission to be incorporated into the experience that students have with content every single day. Researching from great books, from primary sources, from classic literature, then taking the time after that academic research to find, discover, to relate, to liken from that academic experience a principle of truth. And sometimes that's a principle of the restored gospel. Oftentimes it's just a principle of truth, like being honest, right? That's not something that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints owns. But we use scripture, Book of Mormon scripture, quotes from prophets and other resources of the church to reinforce that principle. And so that's where you really see the Church of Jesus Christ, the resources from the Church of Jesus Christ implemented in our curriculum. After they reason from the research a principle of truth, they'll relate it to their lives. What will I do differently as a result of what I've learned and felt today? How will I be different? How will I live these principles? And you'll see questions in the curriculum that are always you, like what will you do as a result of what you've learned today? Or how will you choose better friends? Or how will you make temple attendance a priority? Again, relating what they've just learned to their lives. And then the last R, which is record, make a record of what they've learned, and not just learned, but what they've felt as well. You can do that through service, through writing, through sharing, through standing, testifying, through creating. We make a record a lot of different ways. We don't just make a record through filling out a handout or doing a worksheet. The records that we do are oftentimes application-based, project-based, hands-on, or they're doing something, they're serving, they're sharing. And those are the ways that we record our research, reason, and relate for the lesson of the day. This is our team, or some of our team. Our team has changed since this picture was taken, but the worldwide program provides two paths, two options for parents: family school and micro school. And this is where I'm going to be brief with those who want to understand a little bit more about family school and the AHS Online High School. And we'll spend the most of our time talking about the micro school experience because that's what most of you are interested in learning more about. Family school, let's just let me see if I can just go there. Oh, there we are. This is the dashboard of family school. It has access to over 60 courses for preschool and elementary and middle school. It also has high school courses. You can search the library here by different levels. So if you go to courses, you click on levels, preschool, elementary, high school, you can dive into any of these subject areas. Let's say science, and you can see all the courses within science. You'll notice that some of the science courses have a little video icon and some of them don't. The video icons are the subjects where we've actually also not just produced scripted lesson plans for parents, but also we have videos for students if you want their children to watch a video, and then you can discuss what they learned together as a family. So lots of different ways you can do that. Each lesson is scripted, like I said, and there's two versions. One's an open and go condensed version, and one's a full version or deep dive. You click on that lesson, you can see the different parts of it. Every lesson starts with a review and attention activity, and then you'll see the 4 R's: research, different pictures, and sometimes videos, charts. You can share those with your children, timeline cards, flashcards. You can open them up and show them right there. A lot of families will teach from an iPad, and they'll just turn their iPad around and show pictures as just like you're reading a book. There's the reasoning. You see from Genesis, names are important to Heavenly Father's creations. We're talking about the different classification of animals. So this is a principle that relates well to that lesson. There's a relate, and then there's a record, and enrichment. There's a lot of other things in enrichment. Importantly, I think the most important thing that I like to share for all of you, whether you're here for micro school or family school, is that because this course has videos included, you can follow along with your littles. So for many of you who had videos that your littles had access to last year in LiftEd, it's not just your micro school students who have access to videos. We're doing zoology in micro school. We're also doing the history course that has videos, which is Restoration, Expansion, and Civil War. So you'll see same thing. They have videos here in family school for your littles to follow along with. If the micro school students are also doing the same course, then you can kind of learn together. And the same thing with literature. Those are the 3 courses that align between family school and micro school. You can create your own calendar. You can view a member map, and you can see other families. Red means a family that has an unlimited membership in family school. Blue means a student or a family that's using the micro school program. So you can see this student, Natalie H, is in our micro school program. I can't zoom in any further to protect your privacy. We don't want to see exactly where you live, but we want to see generally where you live so that you can connect with these families. And that's the purpose of the member map, is click on it. You can write, hi, I live close to you and I want to get to know you, right? And you can send that person a message. This person has actually enabled a lot of information. We don't automatically do that. It usually is just their name. But this person in their settings has enabled email, phone, and address. So you can see a lot of information about them, but that's not typical of most of the families. It looks like this. Lori K, you write a message, then she decides if she wants to respond or not. There's a print store in family school. For every course, like zoology, for example, you can order materials directly from Alpha Graphics to use for your little ones. We don't make any money on these. They print and ship for their cost. And so, so we're completely out of this in terms of like its fulfillment and revenue. And so you're getting those all at the same cost that we would pay if we were to buy them from Alpha Graphics. Okay, that's family school. Now, AHS Online. If you want to know more about AHS Online, I would go to ahsworldwide.org. Then I'd click on Programs and Tuition. We just talked a little bit about family school. We're going to be talking more about micro school. And if you want to learn about the online high school, it's now not supported by AHS Worldwide. It's supported by the AHS AF campus. It's still managed by Jenny Starley as the principal, but it's not a worldwide. It's not an AHS Worldwide program anymore. It's an AHS American Fork program. And that actually adds a lot of value and strength to that program. So if you want to know more about that, I would start by registering for their webinar. Click on that. Or actually, that's registration. Sorry. The webinar is the last of these tabs. You can register for that one. Okay. And it's similar to the way it was last year. Very, very similar offering, curriculum-wise, very similar program and services. Same retreat in the summertime. along with all of our middle school students. So for families who are interested in their students participating in that program, again, it's very similar to the one last year, just managed a little bit differently. Okay, now we're going to move on to micro school, and we're going to go back to the we're going to go back to this. Nope, we're going to go back to this screen. This, I'll just pause here for a second. You can review these. This is some high level. Family school is parent-led. Everything's built around this kind of one-room schoolhouse format, so teaching multiple children of various ages together. And you have age-leveled activities and assignments at the end of each lesson. It's also a comprehensive curriculum with math and language arts. I think we covered all of those other ones. Premium plan is what is included, is really just the math and language arts and then the videos. So if you want access to videos, math and language arts in family school, then you'll upgrade to the premium plan. Otherwise, everything else is free in family school. On the micro school side, students lead and coaches facilitate. And that's the big difference between family school and micro school. Of course, it's for 6A. It's a comprehensive 6A program, video-based. What happens is the students watch the video together in their micro school class, and the coach pauses at different points for different interactions or different discussion or activities or games or competitions. And it's a real, class experience with the content that we recorded in the studio. Same academics blended with faith. It provides accredited services which are new for this year. And that's a really significant difference from LiftEd. For those families that are running like, what's different between LiftEd and micro school? This is a significant one. One, the curriculum. It's a complete curriculum offering, a lot more curriculum, health, math, language arts, some of the core academic and other elective curriculum is part of the experience this year. Also accredited services. So anything they submit, they get graded. They get feedback. They have mentors. They have tutoring at labs each day for writing and math if they want to attend at noon. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit later. So again, it's a replacement to public school or private school. It's not just a supplemental fun thing that you do for an hour a day that you do in addition to other things. It is the thing you do, and it's all you have to do. Now you can do lots of other things too, because this only takes 3 hours to do everything. Go to class, do your homework, go to the lab. If you want to do all those things, it's a 3-hour proposition versus a 7-8 hour day at a public school. So you still plenty of time to do lots of other things. But I'm saying it is comprehensive. It will cover academically everything and more than you would cover in 7 to 8 hours in a public school. This micro school program will do that. It's science, history, literature, health, lots of skills electives. And we're going to talk more about that later, because that's one of the most exciting things that we're doing this year that we didn't do last year. It also includes a leveled, safe-paced approach for math and language arts. So that's not as a class, they don't do math and language arts. They do those independently, and then they join the labs if they need help with their writing and their math. It can be in person or virtual. A lot of our students are virtual students still, but we're starting to find families who are combining with other families in their area to create either a group that we manage still and we provide the services for, or one that they provide the services for, a self-administered micro school group, and it's half the price of the normal tuition for ones that we support. So if you're supporting your own students and providing your own coaching, and our parents are dividing up those responsibilities, then the price is significantly less, well, 50% less. Okay, service offering. We've talked about these a little bit already, but the service offering changes based on the kind of course or the course that you're studying. Each day, students have a character core experience. We've set that at 9 o'clock right now for all of our micro schools, 9 o'clock their time. And they can change it. Like if our parents during orientation that we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks with our parents decide that they want to start earlier as a group, then we can adjust that. But we've set it at 9 o'clock. Every day you start with a coach-led daily class, Monday through Thursday. You have access to project-based learning activities that are for each unit. So every single coach-led daily class will end with talking about the next step of a project that they're working on that relates to what they're studying, all to culminate with a celebration at the end of that unit. And those are some gathering guides that we provide parents so that they can do those in person. And sometimes we do those virtually as well. Everything's zero-based graded, so they get points for completing, and they get points for how well they do on the work that they do. And the coaches grade everything that's character core. Character core is any course where we introduce faith, where we can connect faith to that course: history, science, literature, health, and these skills courses that we're talking. Skills are a little different, but in many ways we can make connections to true principles in our skills courses too. And then we have academic core. Academic core is math and writing. It's student-led, so students move at their own pace, and it's tutor supported at noon each day. There's a writing lab or a math lab. It's also zero-based grading, except for with math, they can't unlock the next lesson until they've scored a 90% or higher on their assessment for that lesson that day. So it's also mastery-based, which is really important that parents know and students know that they don't advance. They don't advance with gaps in math. If they submit writing assignments, and I say if, because they're not required to submit them, but if they do submit the writing assignments, then we will grade them. And we have a tutor who is a trained writing professional and teacher who's taught English, who's been a writing instructor, who will be grading and giving feedback on those assignments that are submitted. Again, this is for math and for language arts. These are the specific courses that we're offering. History, the Restoration, Westward Expansion, and the Civil War. And again, you can go to family school and you can find that course, and you can sync up with your littles in family school if they want to. Same with science, which is zoology. Same with literature, except for in literature, we're only doing half the literature. So we're focusing on Merchant of Venice and Carry On Mr. Bowditch. And in health, we're covering emotional, mental, nutrition, technology, addiction recovery, first aid, disease prevention this year. Next year, it's another. So this year we'll do half of health. Next year we'll do half of health. So we've got a full year of history, which is a quarter of the character core curriculum. A full year of science, which is a quarter of the year of character core curriculum. Literature is an eighth, 2 units. Health is an eighth, 2 units. And then the other 4 units are these new MicroMasters courses that are just awesome. I'm going to play for you just a couple teasers really fast, because they're just doing such a remarkable job. These are different than the courses that we filmed in the studio. We wrote scripts, and we had teachers that we hired that came in and read the scripts so that they're perfect, right? And so that it's exactly what it needs to be. Now, these MicroMasters courses are awesome, but they're very authentic, they're very authentic because they're taught by a teacher who loves the subject and is a professional in the subject or the skill that they're teaching. Students will have 4 opportunities to choose from 10 to 12 courses this year. They'll be regrouped with a group of students during those 4 2-week sessions with students who've also chosen the subject that they've chosen. So they'll have an opportunity to learn something that they've picked, that they're interested in learning more about, with students who they aren't with every day in their kind of homeroom, if you will, for character core. So just another opportunity for students to meet other students based around the skill that they've chosen to learn more about. Let me give you a couple examples of those.
Hello, I am Mrs. Ang, and I have a question for you. What do all of these images on the screen behind me have in common? Ready to see them? 3, 2, 1. Product packaging, a movie poster, my favorite candy, my favorite milk. These were all designed by a professional designer who knew the secrets that I'm about to share with you. Everything you're seeing about the text, the colors, the placement, it was all purposeful. And your designs can be purposeful and professional too. I will show you. And once you know some of these secrets, you can make more effective social media posts, invitations, resumes, artwork, presentations for school, you name it. It's all just about communicating with more purpose. I majored in communications and then worked in media and marketing for about 15 years before I taught it at the university collegiate level and now at American Heritage, my favorite place of all. I am so excited to be here with you because this is what I love. And I have a feeling that you love it too. Being creative. If so, I'll see you in class.
Hello, American Heritage students. My name is Mr. Saltmarsh, and I'm incredibly excited to be teaching you about percussion. I've had the immense privilege of being a professional drummer for over a decade, and I've played all over the United States, in Africa, on cruise ships, in small venues to large arenas, and I love drums and rhythm. Now, I have a question for you. Where in the world do you notice rhythm? And it doesn't have to be music related. You may have thought of the heart beating in your chest, the blood pumping through your veins, maybe the turn signal sound in the car, the pace at which you walk, or the waves crashing on the ocean. There are so many things in this world that work to a rhythmic pattern. Now, we will be learning together about the language of rhythm and the language of drumming, and how to read and count different rhythms, and how to use patterns and stickings that we play and have them all work together into performing a piece of music. Now, whether you play an instrument or this is your first exposure in learning about rhythm, I can guarantee you that by taking this class, your understanding and confidence in rhythm will grow that much deeper. And I look forward to seeing you in class.
These guys are just awesome. I mean, they love what they're teaching. You could just feel the energy and the passion that they have for the skill that they're going to be introducing your students to. But again, one of the most exciting things is that the students get to choose from all of these different courses what they're interested in. And that was one of the most important things to the students that we learned last year when we were doing a bunch of research is students want more opportunity in middle school to develop their talents and their interests. And they want to have a choice in the matter. They want more autonomy. And so we found an incredible group of teachers that don't just love the subject that they teach, but also just really good people. And to learn, from them will be an experience in and of itself. Okay, let's go back to I keep going the wrong way. Okay, there we go. The academic core, again, math is I master math, language arts is I love language. They'll have access to all levels, 6 through 8. So regardless of the level that they need, or regardless of the grade that they're in, they'll have access to all their levels. So if they need to go down a level or up a level, they can. If they need to go down to 5, they can go into family school and get access to level 5 there. And it's both of those programs were developed off of the Virginia State Standards, as it says right here. That actually makes families nervous until they understand why. Virginia State Standards, when we started building the Math and Language Arts program many years ago, we really did look at almost every program that was on the market for public schools and for homeschools. And in the end, we ultimately decided it would be a lot smarter for us to build off of the backbone of the Virginia State Standards. There wasn't a state that had year after year the kinds of outcomes that Virginia was producing for math and for language arts. In 2010, Virginia was one of just a few states that didn't adopt Common Core, and likely because they were producing the best math and language arts students in the country. And this has been going on for decades. And so when we built our program, we decided to use the backbone of the scope and the sequence of the Virginia State Standards. And it allowed us to build a program with years of vetted research-based data and results that we wouldn't have been able to get for many, many years if we just created something from scratch, like many programs have. It's all of our own lesson plans and our own problem sets. We haven't taken anything from the Virginia State Standards except for we're using the same scope and sequence that they have, which is not proprietary in any way. You can preview every you can preview every course in I Master Math and I Love Language in family school. So one of the things I always encourage any family to do is go get your free account set up if you don't already have it in family school. Go to I Master Math. You can look at the first 5 lessons completely, and you can just kind of start to get an idea of which level is the right level for your student. In math, you'll see assessments there that you can take. You can do home administered, parent administered assessments in math. And there's some instructions there to help you understand exactly how to do that so that you can assess what level there is right for them. For reading and language arts, we will have assessments. We don't have them right now. I think the 16th we'll have assessments in language arts for level 6, 7, and 8. I believe. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's when the assessments will be ready. Otherwise, I would probably just enroll them in the level that they are grade-wise. You know, if they're a struggling reader, then maybe drop them one level, or a struggling writer or advanced, then maybe put them up a level. But again, all levels are available to you. So if one level is not working, you need to go down a week into it or a month into it, you can do that. Likewise, if they're moving faster and they want to do 2 lessons a day, they can easily get through 2 levels of math in 1 year. Okay. Health. I wanted to show you this because a lot of people get a little nervous about how we teach health, what we're teaching. This doesn't show you everything, but it does show you a little bit more. Of course, we're very sensitive to anything to do with reproductive or sexual health. That's all part of part 1 or part 2. We're not getting to that this year anyway. But you can kind of see year 2 in the next slide. This is what we're covering this year. The mental and physical health connection, intro to health and SMART goals. I won't read them all. You can read them here quickly. I'm also going to send you this recording. I'm recording it, so I'll send it to you. You can go back, and if you wanted to pause anywhere, you can. Okay, part 2. This will be coming in 2025-26. And you can see those topics that we'll be discussing in part 2. These are the other MicroMasters courses. Light and Lens, an Intro to Photography by Maddie Smith. She is amazing. A Taste of French Cuisine, Mrs. Stewart, and she is just awesome. Her course is coming together. Time Management. I don't have time to talk about each of these, but you can see the different courses that we're going to make a part of our MicroMasters course library. And that library will grow year after year after year. The biggest problem with MicroMasters courses I'm predicting that FOMO will be the biggest issue for our students, that they'll want to take more of them than we give them an opportunity to complete during our character core class. Well, good news, you have access to all of these courses. You can do them in the afternoon, you can do them in the summertime. If you have a micro school student enrolled, you can do them with your younger kids. Just know that with your micro school enrollment, your younger kids can watch those videos. There's nothing wrong with your littles gathering around and watching the same videos that your middle schooler has watched. And so if you want to use our middle school micro school content for your whole family, you're welcome to do that. Just know that if one of your kids logs in, let's say you have a 5th grader, right, who's also participating in watching the content or reviewing the content in micro school, and you have who has an older sibling that's in the micro school program, that if they go to a lesson that the older one hasn't done, or if they submit something, it's going to register that student has completed something that they really haven't completed. So just be aware that student login is going to track the progress of one student, not for multiple students. Okay. Demo. We already did a family school demo. Form your own micro school group, learn how and why. Here's some of the reasons why you might want a micro school with your own group. You meet in person for daily class and for those celebrations. That's pretty awesome if you can do that. So talk to your friends and family who live around you. Regardless of where you live, there are probably a group of core families who would be interested in an alternative public school if they knew that they could be meeting in person. Virtually, maybe not. Still, some families are a little bit reticent about their kids learning virtually, even as highly connected as we offer it. And I'm going to show you a demo here in just a second. But I would encourage you to start talking to friends and family about this option if that's something that you're interested in. The leader decides all the objectives, the terms, the conditions for participating in their local group. It's a local self-governed kind of an organization. How many families, you decide. How it's supported. Do you hire help? Do you rotate with other parents for coaching, for grading, for feedback, those kinds of things? What's the cost, if any? How often you'll meet, when and where? Those are all questions that you answer in your self-administered micro school group. You can hire or provide your own coach for daily class. It's usually parents that do that. You can hire and provide your own grading and mentoring. You can save 50% on the tuition. That's the discount. And then you get my primary focus are these groups. Grace's focus are going to be our virtual micro schools. My focus will be all of our self-administered micro schools. So like I said, I'll help you every way that I possibly can. I've already been down to Mona to meet with a group down there up in Salt Lake County, but we'll go out of state if you have a group of families and it's justified, we can come to you. You can do things virtually too if that's easier. Okay, let me just show you a quick demo of the microschool platform and we'll be done with what I'm going to show you, and then we can stay here for as long as you need to answer more questions, but hopefully I've knocked off a good percentage of the questions that you have. These are the Figma files. This is what we use to help people understand what we're building. It's not built yet. Some of these pieces are built, but it's not all built. In fact, some of these things won't be available until second term of this year, end of October. But students will log in similar to the way that they have in previous years. They'll have a calendar. They access their character core micro school class at 9 o'clock, or if it's adjusted at that whatever time the micro school decides. And then after that character core discussion, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. We've talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to actually show you what it looks like here in just a second. After that, they'll have a break. They can do homework. They can work on their project. They can work on their math or their writing assignments. They can join the writing or the math lab at noon. There'll be 1 writing lab per week and 3 math labs per week. That's what we're estimating is the right combination of labs for students based on the assignments that they have to submit. They can click onto any of these and see, they can see at a glance what they're on track for, their grade. And they can click on any of those courses and see a more detailed, and you can too, parents. This is the same grade book that you see. Green means it's complete. Yellow means there's something missing in that unit. If they open up the unit, they can see the lesson, moving your muscles, that has something missing. They open up the lesson and they can see what's missing. Oh, I didn't finish the quiz, or I didn't submit a record assignment, or I didn't watch the relay video. Whatever they haven't completed will be yellow. And then whatever is next up. So they've completed this one, and the next lesson up is going to be safety and first aid in this particular example. From the dashboard, they can also connect with their friends, and this is really important to them. This improved chat will not just allow them to message their friends, but will allow them to join a meeting or start a meeting. So they can open up little study rooms whenever they want. This is something the students are super excited about. It's also something that makes the parents a little bit nervous. So parents can disable this. They can limit the time on it. They can get a notification, they will get a notification anytime a student starts a meeting or joins a meeting. And that notification will come to their text. So lots of ways the students can kind of manage and monitor the kind of connection that they're making with other students. But ultimately, we want students to be connected in a safe environment and with other students who have the same similar values that they do. So we really feel good about facilitating connection this way. Social piece for students is a huge part of education for them. And so enabling them to connect with informed friendships and relationships that are good and lasting is one of the primary reasons we built the platform. From the dashboard, like I said, they're going to click on that character core micro school class of the day. And it looks like today we're discussing a science lesson, how mountains are formed. And this is what it will look like. Again, not the first day, but by the end of the first semester, this is the way it will work. The first day, it'll actually look a lot like our webinar right now. That we'll be using Zoom, and we'll be the students will be watching their video on their own, and then we'll connect again after each of these stops and discuss and interact and play games and things like that. The platform will actually facilitate it as soon as we finish this, what we call the live meeting or the live class, live meeting room. When students come to class, they'll be organized into 4 groups automatically. The first 4 students can can choose the name for their team for the review game. The review game countdown starts the review game. And then they drop into this footer view. And that's the big difference between last year and this year is students will be together for the entire experience. Whereas last year they're together before class started and then they're independent the rest of the way. Now they're together, they're with their coach, they're learning content together, they're having a devotional together. You can see they go back into gallery view after the game's finished, and then they start their lesson. The coach will start, they finish the review here. The coach will start the first module of the lesson, which is the research video. They drop into this gallery view. Content is the primary, the center of their attention should be this video that they're watching together. And then throughout the video, occasionally they have little interaction stops. Some of them are discussions. We've got exploration, knowledge checks, and even labs that we're doing together as in smaller groups. You can kind of see how those change the view for the students. So while they're watching content, they're in the footer view again. The coach at any point could pause and discuss, answer questions that the student has. When they're finished with that, it might open up a discussion interaction where the students are prompted with a question that the coach discusses with them. And they go back and they watch a little bit more of the video. They might pause and, hey, let's explore this concept a little bit deeper. And they have some options to go and explore independently for a certain amount of time. They come back and we watch a little bit more of the video. Hey, are you still with us? Let's check. Let's do a knowledge check. And there's lots of different ways we do knowledge checks. They go back and they get to see how they answered, and the rest of the class answered too. That's going to be a fun addition for this year. They watch the rest of the video. They might, at some point in the year, now this will be later in the year, we'll build in labs where they can apply what they've learned in the academic research portion of this lesson. And they'll be automatically randomly grouped into small groups with different assignments, and the leader will follow a video, and maybe the demonstrator will go get something and demonstrate, and moderator is there to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. The observer might use the worksheet to record some things and share with the class when they go back into this view. At some point, they finish the research, right? It's probably 30 minutes. I'd say this is probably a 15-minute experience. Most of it's just hanging out and having fun and chatting before the game even starts. 5 minutes for the review game, 30 minutes for research, probably 10 minutes for the relate, and then however much time they want to take on the project together as a class. But the relate video is very similar. They watch a video of the same teacher making a connection to a gospel principle, then discussing something in that video, then researching a little bit more, and then then they might have an option to go exploring this spiritual concept the same way they explored the academic concept, and have some time on their own to independently go and explore that concept that day. Finish the video, and they finish the reason and relate video. So this is all about an hour right here. And then the next portion, the record, the teacher will say, okay, this is the next step of the day, and this is the next step in your project. And the coach will, after this video, the coach will take an opportunity to highlight some examples of what the students have been working on, make sure that there are no questions, answer any questions that they do have, talk about the next step of the project. And so this is the project time portion of the microschool class for the day. Once they finish that, then they're done with their class experience. And again, like I said, that's a 75-minute experience on average. Sometimes they'll go a little bit longer, maybe even up to 90 minutes. And then they'll have a couple opportunities independently to take their quiz, which is this one, or to watch any videos that have been submitted from family and friends. Some of you are familiar with this technology. We prompt our parents within a text message. They can record a video answering the prompt. Maybe the prompt was, how has the temple blessed your family? We know that this lesson was coming up 5 days ago, right? So we texted the parents on record. The parents may have forwarded it on to grandma and grandpa or brother and sister. Anybody who leaves a recording using that text message and that link in the text message, those videos will show up right here in this golden envelope message section. And it's a really wonderful way for families and friends to still be connected with their youth and what is really a very student-led and coach-led experience. Some really remarkable, beautiful things happen when parents take advantage of this opportunity to share and respond to these messages. At the end of the year, we hope to have a tool where they can download all those messages for each course and keep them as a keepsake and a record for each of the students for each of those courses. And then, of course, the quiz at the end that they take. And once that's done, they've completed the lesson, and that grade book that I showed you earlier will show complete on all those steps. And again, a parent can go in and look at that progress as well. All right, that is everything that I'm going to share. That was exactly an hour. That's a lot of information. And in the future, you'll be able to get that information in a recording that you can watch before, so that we can take all the time to just do Q&A. But like I said, we can take as much time as you want in our Q&A today. I know a lot of you have questions and you want to make a decision, and you want your students to be a part of the most proximal group possible. I did mention at the beginning that there's likely opportunity for you to do that, so don't stress out too much about that if you need a few more days.